What's going on, guys? Welcome back to #AskGSM here today for Tuesday, August 18, 2026. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great week so far. Raw last night I thought was good. We're going to get into that a little bit later on today. We have a lot of questions to get into for episode 664, I should say, for #AskGSM here today. I am Graham GSM Matthews, as I had mentioned. A few housekeeping things to get out of the way before we get going here, including shouting out the channel members. That includes Alexis, Miss Mon Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1, at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau, at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie, Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, Bill Meister and Average Grunt, at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. $5 will get you the All Access Pass here on the WrestleRant channel for the channel membership, so more information on the down below. You get shout-outs at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do here on the channel, top billing for #AskGSM and WrestleRant Radio, badges and emojis here in the live chats, but most importantly, you get certain videos early and ad-free, so this is relevant. This past Sunday for channel members, I put up my interview with The Miz. I think it was either Sunday or Monday. I put up my interview with The Miz. I believe it was on Sunday that I took over SummerSlam weekend, the video of my interview with The Miz from SummerSlam weekend in Minneapolis. It is currently available early and ad-free for channel members. It will not be up for everyone else until at least tomorrow, if not Thursday. So you get like a 3-day heads up if you are a channel member to get videos like that early and ad-free. So please consider supporting the channel on that tier. You can also simply just like this video, drop a comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. All that stuff helps the channel, helps us in the algorithm, so please consider doing that as well. If you want to send in a question to this very show, you could do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, include your question down below in the comment section on this very video, and I'll include your question in next week's edition, or include your question in the chat. If you are watching live, include your question in the chat. I'll get to it momentarily. So that's really about it. A few things I do want to mention before we get going here. If you may have noticed, I also put up my Dark Side of the Ring review for the first 2 parts of the TNA episode, Jeff Jarrett and the Battle for TNA. I know they did 3 parts. I have not recorded the part 3 review yet, but I have finished the episode. I know I'm very delayed in those reviews. Typically, I would have them up soon after the episode airs, but the last several months have been incredibly busy and hectic. So those reviews are just going up now. They're not going to be going up weekly. They'll probably just go up as soon as I can record them. I also did a book review for Natty's book. That will probably be up at some point soon as well. But the Dark Side of the Ring reviews will be going up as soon as I can record them and as soon as I can watch the episodes. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, the episode review for the first 2 parts of the Jeff Jarrett and the Battle for TNA episode is up currently on the channel from yesterday. Last week's hashtag featured Alexis, a near 3-hour episode. A lot of fun with her. Check that episode out from last week. And I think that's about it. I think that's all I really wanted to plug. I have yet to put it in the community tab, but I have done a couple of podcasts lately with other collaborators. You guys, of course, may know Randy Cruz, who has been on this very show before in the last several months, within the last year. I was on his podcast last Friday, just kind of catching up on all things WWE, my experience at SummerSlam, where WWE is headed going into the fall, and a lot more. So check out that podcast, the Cruise Control 2 out of 3 Falls podcast from last Friday. I was also on the Nordic Pro Wrestling podcast yesterday, so both of which I will probably link in the community tab, if not be featured as a collaborator on or whatever. And yeah, just be sure to check out those episodes that I was on within the last couple of days, because I enjoyed all of those conversations. So that's really about it. We will also be live again here on the channel for WrestleRant Radio, as we usually are on Thursdays with Mr. Marceau. Time TBD. Haven't worked out the time yet, but we should be live again on Thursday with Mr. Marceau, breaking down Raw from this past Monday. And really anything else in the world of wrestling. There really isn't a lot of major talking points currently, as there really wasn't last week, but we still had what I thought was a pretty good show. So join us again on Thursday for that. Myself and Mr. Marceau talking all the latest in the world of wrestling. So what I'm going to do now is pull up the questions. We don't have a ton of time here today, but I do want to get through everything that was sent in and everyone involved in the chat. Bam. There's the chat. Fernando, what's going on, brother? I'll scroll up and get to you first. He said, Buenos dias, WrestleRant. Fernando, thank you for joining as always. I appreciate it, sir. He said, what grade did you give or do you give Raw last night? I would probably give it a B+. I thought it was actually a very good show. The opening segment was kind of more of the same from Stephanie, Becky, and Judgment Day. It was fine, but it was kind of more of the same with those three. There really hasn't been a whole lot of progression in that front yet. The wrestling, though, it was a very wrestling-heavy show. I know it sounds crazy to say, oh my God, 5 wrestling matches on a wrestling show. How shocking. But on Raw, typically, there are only really between 3 and 4 matches weekly. We got 5 last night, and it's not as if one was a squash. They all got at least an ample amount of time, a handful of minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes. Gable and Ray got a decent amount of time as well. Really good match there, I thought, between those two. That was really the show stealer. The 2 tournament matches were good. I thought Lyra and Sol Ruca was good. Didn't love the outcome. I'll get to that in a second because I know Fernando also asked about Lyra. The main event segment was great. So, yeah, overall, really liked the show. I thought the Braun Breaker-Obafemi match, or not match, the segment to set up the match, was also quite good as well. That set up the match at Sunday night's main event, coming up next month in a few short weeks. A show that they're stacking, by the way. They were doing Obafemi versus Braun Breaker for the first time ever on that show, as well as the WrestleMania rematch between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And those aren't even title matches. So, 2 really good matches, 2 really good segments, 2 really good matches set up for that show, 2 really good segments last night, and overall a thumbs-up show. I enjoyed Raw for what it was. He said, I think Theory has one more chance left. If he can't get over, it's all over. Talking about today's headline question about if a face turn could salvage Austin Theory. Now, I know he's currently one half of the World Tag Team Champions. I know he's currently involved in the Vision. He's kind of the focal point of that group right now. He's aligned with Maxine Dupree. None of that really matters to me. He just kind of feels like in that role, he has a short shelf life. I will talk about the babyface turn later because that's something I've been, beating the drum for a long time for Theory. But interesting comment there, Fernando. Thank you for chiming in on that conversation. We'll get to that later. He said, "Where do you rank the TNA Dark Side of the Ring episodes among the others you have watched?" I enjoyed those. I enjoyed them. I would put them above some of the other more uneventful ones. I enjoy all the Dark Side of the Ring episodes. Some are just more memorable than others. I feel like they kind of have to dig down deep to find stories on certain people. So I haven't finished it yet, but I started. I'm about halfway through on the Big Boss Man episode. And it's been good, but I feel like there's really nothing dark about Ray Traylor, a.k.a. the Big Boss Man. I know they really haven't delved into his substance abuse issues or pill issue or whatever it was. The second half of the episode, I haven't quite gotten there yet. And like, the TNA stuff isn't exactly dark. A lot of this stuff isn't really dark. We're kind of past the point of getting to dark stuff on the actual Dark Side of the Ring show. But it's interesting. And the TNA stuff I lived through, specifically during the Hogan era and after Hogan left, I thought all of that was fascinating. It was really just one glorified burial of Dixie Carter. And they kind of went a little too lightly on Jeff and some of the stuff that he was also responsible for from a booking, creative standpoint in TNA during his height, at the height of his run in TNA. But overall, I enjoyed the 3 episodes. I thought they were quite good. They definitely left a lot of stuff out. They couldn't get to everything because it was more so focused on Jarrett. It was more about, you say the TNA episodes. They were really Jeff Jarrett episodes with a minor focus on TNA. Now, they did mention like the Victory Road stuff with Jeff Hardy, which they kind of had to if they interviewed the Hardy Boys for this episode or these episodes. But there's so much more they could have gotten into if they solely focused on TNA. Still, though, I thought it was a good opener for the season. They have never done 3 parts on anything before, not counting like the whole Who Killed WCW miniseries, which was from the same people who made Dark Side of the Ring, but it wasn't an official part of the show. They were not episodes of the show. So aside from that, they've never done 3 episodes on anything or anyone. Benoit got 2 episodes. Pillman got 2 episodes, I believe. No one has ever gotten 3. And I think the TNA stuff was worth it. It was enjoyable, especially that 3rd part where they were really going in on Dixie Carter. But it wasn't quite what it could have been if they solely just focused on TNA. Fernando said, have you heard about the allegations against Produce Wrestling and GCW if you have thoughts? I have not. Is it Produce Wrestling or is it... I've never heard of Produce Wrestling. I feel like you just might be, saying it wrong or mistyping it. Is it a PCW company or something? I don't know exactly what you're talking about there. GCW, the only allegations, what I think you might be referring to is the whole Drake Wirtz thing or whatever his last name is, the referee that used to work for NXT that got fired years ago, kind of turned into a crazy person, was coming up with all these conspiracy theories and saying dumb shit. One of those like super, super, super right-wing like nut jobs. And he kind of got blacklisted from wrestling years ago. Now he's making a comeback. He returned to GCW over the weekend. A lot of people were upset because he was, promoting a lot of negative shit years ago. And Brett Lauderdale had to go on Twitter, and he's a personal friend of his, and could understand the backlash to Drake being brought back. But he had also kind of not defended him, but said, people change. I want to give him a chance, blah, blah, blah. Which I can also understand. But at the same time, some of the stuff he was saying and promoting a few years ago was really, really bad. And we're not just talking like, oh, conspiracy theories. We're also talking like super anti LBGTQ like level stuff. And I'm not super like in the weeds on what he was saying, but just to my general knowledge and what other people have said about him, it was not good. And the fact that they brought him back is not a great look. I'm sure it'll blow over time, especially if he proves himself to have been a changed person. But it's going to take a lot more than just saying I'm sorry to kind of win over a lot of these people or change their minds. Assuming that's what you're referring to, because otherwise I'm not sure what other allegations GCW has against it right now. Fernando said, is SmackDown gaining ground on Raw? I think they're kind of evenly matched right now. I think SmackDown has the more stacked main event scene. I think SmackDown has the more stacked women's division right now. Raw's got Liv. They brought back Stephanie and Becky, which is great, but they still kind of need more depth beyond that. They had Sol and Lyra go out there last night and have a good match, but there's no real story. Like, there's no story over the Women's IC Championship right now. I don't think there's any feuds outside of the main Women's World Championship picture. Io Sky, we haven't seen. No, she was on Raw last night. I was going to say we haven't seen her since SummerSlam. She was on Raw last week. Yeah, I just feel like SmackDown, they have more women than they know what to do with, actually. But they have a lot of women going on, doing stuff over on SmackDown currently. They just brought up Tatum Paxley, probably soon to be Lola Vice as well. The main event scene is stacked over there. I love what they're doing with Punk and Kevin Owens. The Orton and Cody stuff has been good. I like the fact that Corbin won the U.S. Championship. They could definitely be doing more with who they have on Raw, but I thought Raw last night was good. So I feel like it's pretty evenly matched right now. I don't know if SmackDown's gaining ground on Raw necessarily, because some weeks Raw sucks, some weeks it's fine, some weeks it's great. SmackDown, by and large in 2026, it has largely been a bad show or just very boring and uneventful. It has definitely been better since they went back to 2 hours, and it has definitely been better since SummerSlam, which has been nice to see. I thought last week's show was actually quite great, with a lot of the stuff they had going on Friday between the two title changes, the Punk and Owens segment, the opening segment with Chelsea Green, Nick Aldis, and Gunther and Matt Cardona coming out. I thought all of that was awesome. I really enjoyed Friday's show. Do you agree with having Lyra Mania lose her first match with her new gimmick? I don't agree with it. Technically her first match with the new gimmick was against Bayley at Saturday night's main event. I did not realize that she has not really wrestled on TV. I knew she hasn't wrestled on Raw recently up until Monday, but I did not realize that she really hasn't wrestled on the show in like 2 months. She turned heel on Bayley following a tag team title opportunity that they lost, I think in England, but that was in late June. And then she faced Bayley at MSG on Saturday night's main event, beat her there decisively, picked up this big win, and they have barely featured her on Raw since. We kind of gave her full thoughts on the whole Lyra thing on the show with Mr. Marceau on WrestleRant Radio recently, but in short, it's egregious. And then you have her out there on Monday, and she fucking loses. And I love Sol Ruca. It was a good match. Sol Ruca also need wins. She also needs wins. But Lyra just had more momentum. Sol just lost the Women's IC Championship, and she's also more over, I feel like, than Lyra is. That was a must-win situation for Lyra, and she lost. And I thought she might even attack her afterward, and then maybe Bayley would come out. Bayley did not come out, which is whatever, but Lyra didn't even attack her. She just beat her clean, and that was it. Sol Ruca beat her clean, and that was it. And it's not as if, okay, Sol's going to go on to, challenge or win the Women's World Championship. She's not. Maybe she'll challenge Raquel to a rematch for the Women's IC Championship, but that's what Lyra was doing, and then she lost. So, I don't know. I just feel like whatever momentum Lyra had, they completely fucking wasted, and that's a mistake. They give these people these big moments, these big heel turns, and they always fail to follow up on it. We talked about it last week here on the show. Lyra was the fucking thumbnail of last week's episode, because they turned her heel, and they've since really largely done nothing with her, especially since she beat Bayley last month. And last night was just another example of that with the way that she lost to Sol Ruca. Fernando said, bigger cool-off, Carmelo, Dirty Dom, or Trick? Good question, but it's definitely Dirty Dom. I could see why you included all three. Trick is still super over. I know people have kind of cooled off on him because he lost the United States Championship. Yeah, he lost twice to Corbin, but he's still involved in the picture. He's very likely getting that belt back from Corbin, which is probably the only reason why Corbin still has that dumbass furry belt, is because Trick is winning it back soon. I'm glad Corbin won it at all. It's better than Trick just beating Corbin once or twice and then moving on to another challenger. Not everyone needs fucking 6-month title runs. But I'm ready for Trick to kind of move on from the United States Championship personally. I don't really care to see him get the belt back. I'd rather see the belt on Corbin for longer, but that's just me. But Trick is still super over whenever he comes out. Carmelo was getting over, and it's not that he's not over now. It's just that he was way more over when he was United States champion, out there having great matches every single week. And then they took him off the fucking show after he lost the championship. And then he came back about a month or so after Mania to feud with Ricky Saints, failed to get back in the United States title picture, and then disappeared again. So, and then he's back now, and he lost again to Corbin. It's been very hot and cold with Carmelo, very on and off. Not consistent, disappointing, but the answer is definitely Dirty Dom. I mean, that guy was way more over than Carmelo was at this time a year ago. He was the Intercontinental Champion for 7 months. He beat fucking John Cena. I cannot stress that enough. He beat John Cena in his final premium live event match at Survivor Series last year to regain the Intercontinental Championship. John Cena's second last loss ever will be remembered as being to Dominic. Or maybe he won't because people won't remember because he's since been buried basically on these shows. He hasn't won a match in months. He's still the AAA Mega Champion for whatever the fuck that's worth. He's probably losing that belt in a couple of weeks anyways. He should. He is very much cooled off. And Dom will still get great reactions on occasion, but he is far from where he was. When he's losing to Dragon Lee on Raw, and I like Dragon Lee. And Dragon Lee won last night, but that wasn't even a tournament match. It was a random match. And Dragon Lee should have won that match if he's involved in the tournament, but still. That was, well, why even book the match? You know what I mean? The answer is definitely Dirty Dom. Fernando said, let me backtrack a little bit here. Is this the big break both Solo and LA Knight have been hoping for? It is, but I mean, so yes and no. The big break, I think the big break that people have been hoping for Solo and LA Knight are two different things. Solo, the big break has just been him turning babyface. And so the answer for him is yes. And I was worried last night they would just completely emasculate him and the baby faces, just him and LA Knight both. And they didn't do that. They stood tall. They got the better of the bloodline. They kind of teased some tension there with Jacob and Roman, which I liked as well. It was a very good segment. It turned into a way better segment than I was anticipating. Solo's not winning a world championship. I don't think Solo needs to be a world champion. I think he's completely fine where he is. LA Knight's big break, he's already mega over. LA Knight's big break is winning a world title. Do I think that's going to happen? I genuinely don't. I would love for it to happen via like some sort of an upset or whatever at Money in the Bank. I just don't see that happening. I think they're going to keep the belt on Roman until he defends against Obafemi at some point, very likely at WrestleMania 43, which I think Roman can lose it and then get it back from LA Knight. Just to give LA Knight the belt at all, I think is better than him not winning it at all. But no, I don't think LA Knight's big break is happening right now. I mean, he's gotten main event pushes before and has lost, so I'm not really overly optimistic as far as he goes. At least he's getting this opportunity. But for Solo, yeah, this is his big break. I mean, this is the most over he's ever been in his entire career. He's excelling as a babyface, and he's right where he should be. So, yeah, Solo, yes. LA Knight, no. Eric, what's going on, my man? He said, Graham, do you think the Liv drama could get bad enough that Triple H has no choice but to fire her? I have no idea what you're talking about, Eric. I think the only thing that I believe you could be referring to is her boyfriend thing. I mean, I've seen that since SummerSlam, that people have been trying to expose Liv and her boyfriend for being, right-wing nuts or homophobic or whatever it is. I haven't really looked into it. I mean, that sort of stuff, obviously, you don't want to be homophobic. I don't really care who she's dating. I don't really give a shit about that sort of stuff. I did see that she was dating someone a few months ago. I said, oh, that's interesting. I thought she may have been still with Bo Dallas. I know she said a while ago that she was single, but that was years ago. I thought that was a storyline thing, though. So, because at that point, after she said she was single in a real-life interview, she went on to be involved with Dominic on the show. So I thought there was a chance she still may have been with, did I say Bray Wyatt? I think I said Bo Dallas, but it was definitely Bo Dallas that she was dating. Anyway, I don't really care about that sort of shit. I think Liv Morgan is fine. I'm not even really sure Liv has said anything controversial. I think it might just be her boyfriend, so they're not going to fire her over something her boyfriend believes or has said, as problematic as he might be. Richie, what's going on, my man? He said, we are so back. Sup, y'all? 24-hour stream today. God help me now. One day, maybe. Today is not that day. But I appreciate it, Richie. Always great to see you and chat with you. Richie said 6-7 minutes. Yeah, 6-7. I believe I did say 6-7 minutes. Fernando said, what are your thoughts on all the Marvel and Star Wars news over the weekend? Good question, Fernando. I was excited. I was kind of bummed that there wasn't more Star Wars news. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting, per se. But they didn't really tell us anything we didn't already know. Now, the trailer for the Ahsoka Season 2, the second season of Ahsoka, was great. The trailer looks great. It's coming out in January, which is exciting. It was supposed to either already be out by now or out by the fall, so I'm kind of bummed that they're waiting until January. But it's better than the spring. I had heard originally months ago that they bumped it from the fall to the spring of next year. So thankfully that's not the case. They just bumped it to the winter, and it's like in the very first month of the year. So that's good. The trailer looked great. I know Starfighter, that movie with Ryan Gosling, is coming out next year. I don't know if they showed anything more on that. I think they've already finished filming it, from what I understand. I have seen no trailer on it, I don't think. And that's out like next May. That's really about it. I don't know anything else that they announced or showcased at D23 for Star Wars. I mean, no like theme park news as far as Star Wars is concerned. Galaxy's Edge has kind of been the same for a long time now. I don't think they announced any new animated shows, like a second season of Maul. I think that would have been a good time to announce that. Don't think they announced that officially. And that was really about it. So I was kind of bummed they did not do more Star Wars stuff, and Star Wars is kind of at a stalemate right now. The Marvel stuff was exciting. I kind of figured that they waited on the X-Men cast announcement until after Brand New Day because of the, big reveal in that movie, if you haven't seen it, which by that point I'm sure everyone has. But, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con was before the Spider-Man movie came out. So you kind of had to wait until after that came out to do the cast reveal. And the cast looks good. I know they're doing Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister, which is cool. I'm not a big Adam Driver fan. I think he's kind of boring. I mean, I like the Star Wars movies. I mean, the sequels are kind of what they are. But, it's Kylo Ren. He's kind of like a baby. I don't know if that was more of the writing or him or whatever. Not a big Driver fan, but him as Mr. Sinister, if they write him well and book him well, so to speak, I think that could be interesting. They've never done Mr. Sinister on the big screen before, only in the animated series, so I'm excited about that. What else did they announce for Marvel? That was like the big thing. Oh, the Vision Quest trailer also looked great. I'm looking forward to that. That wasn't really a show I gave a shit about when they initially announced it. I'm thinking, why is this necessary? But the trailer actually looked really good. And the new Doomsday trailer looked fucking awesome as well. So, I was pretty pumped coming out of D23 this weekend. And all the ride announcements, too. I know that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. All the theme park-related stuff they announced on Sunday was also exciting. I was very happy about that as well. What are your thoughts on Avery Styles being difficult? Or I think that was on Saturday they announced that stuff. Fernando said, what are your thoughts on Avery Styles being difficult on the indies? I already talked about this last week. I talked about it on WrestleRant Radio last week with RJ. So for my full thoughts on it, just go back and check out either episode of last week's hashtag or last week's WrestleRant Radio. But basically, I mean, it's one person's opinion. I know AJ Styles had come out and said that, I don't know, he issued a statement on it on his own podcast. Eric Cannon came out again and responded again to AJ Styles. It's just a agree to disagree situation. I still think newer people, regardless of, whose son you are, should be helping out with chairs and shit like that. I know AJ's defense, I don't know if Avery ever said anything publicly, but I think the defense there was that he was never asked to, so he didn't have to or something. Okay, whatever. At this point, I don't really care about the whole thing, but it just kind of seems like it's a big, I don't know if it's a misunderstanding, but it really did not need to blow up to the level that it did. It's kind of blown way out of proportion, is what I would say about that situation. Richie said, I forgot about that guy. He really went off the rails in 2020, 2021. Can't stand when promotions give people like that a platform of any sort again. Not the first time, sadly, won't be the last. Yeah, the funny thing, talking about Drake Wirtz, or whatever his name is, the funny thing with that, with wrestling, they always bring back, people that have been canceled or are problematic. If they're notable names, typically if you have a name, you are brought back. I'm shocked, honestly, that no major promotion has touched Marty Scurll since the whole speaking out thing. I know he still wrestles in Mexico. I know he tried to wrestle in Japan once, and maybe it was like, I don't think it was New Japan. I think it was All Japan or something, and like people caught wind of it and were like, no thanks. He may have been on like a New Japan Strong taping or whatever, and then they never brought him back because people just did not react well to it online. But he was a notable name. He was a really hot hand in the world of wrestling for a few years there in the late 2010s. And then speaking out happened, and he kind of got canceled, and WWE didn't touch him. AEW obviously never brought him in. He never went to TNA, no MLW, NWA, I don't think. Like, NWA has touched some canceled people. I don't think they ever touched fucking Marty Scurll. So, yeah. But anyway, Marty Scurll's a bigger star than fucking Drake Wuertz is. Maybe it's just a matter of who you know. Like, Drake was never a notable name. That's my point. Like, there's no real reason to bring him back into the world of wrestling if he got canceled, and justifiably so for some of the dumb shit he was saying and believing at the time. Maybe he has truly changed. I mean, I believe in giving people a chance, but I don't know. A lot of the damage was done with shit that he said and did years ago, so I completely understand people not wanting to. I mean, I didn't really give a fuck about the guy in the first place. So I never really followed his indie work or anything, so I don't really give a shit. I'm like, oh, Drake's back. Oh my God. Like, I don't really care. So, yeah, definitely will not be the last time, as you mentioned, Richie. Do I agree with Fatal Influence having almost all the gold in the women's division? I think it's great. I mean, it's only the mid-card belt and the tag titles. It's not like they hold the main women's title on SmackDown. Nor should they, I think, at this point. If J.C. Jane did win the WWE women's title, I think that'd be fine. But I think having her start out as the Women's United States champion is a good stepping stone. So I was excited about that. I thought it was a fine match. And yeah, Fatal Influence, after they were booked well initially upon being called up and they got cooled off. But since winning the tag titles last month, they won the tag titles, beat the Bellas and Paige at SummerSlam. Now J.C. Jane is the Women's United States champion. They've kind of corrected course with them, which is nice to see. Eric said, we haven't seen Io since SummerSlam. That was literally 2 weeks ago. That, like I said, it's not true. We saw her on Raw last week. She was involved in a tag team match with Soul beating the Judgment Day. That was last week on Raw. She was the whole Soruka mystery partner or whatever. Fernando said, Fatal Influence and Lash and Nia versus Charlotte, Paxley, Alexa, Chelsea, and Tiffany in War Games. So you're saying Fatal Influence and Lash and Nia versus Charlotte, Paxley, Alexa, Chelsea, and Tiffany. That would work. I actually do like that idea. The only issue with that, I think, is Chelsea and Tiffany. Tiffany's probably going to turn on Chelsea before then. War Games is not for another 3 months. This is why I hate that they do War Games at the same fucking time every year. Because if they had done it like, oh, let's do it in October, then yeah, I think that would work. Waiting until November, you're probably right. That match, I like matches inside War Games that actually make sense. That makes sense. I just don't know if they'll wait that long to have Tiffany turn on Chelsea. I feel like it's imminent. At least as early as when Chelsea can get cleared, which should be within the next month, hopefully. Jeremy, what's going on, brother? He said, could you see them putting the tag titles on LA Knight and Solo Sikoa? I could see it. I don't see it happening. I think LA Knight will just chase the World Heavyweight Championship, but, honestly, why the fuck not? It's not like the Division's doing anything with those tag team titles right now. They have no division anyway, so genuinely, why not? I know they're not feuding with Division, they're feuding with the Bloodline, but then they can feud with the Usos over the tag titles, so I don't see that happening. I don't think they'll get the tag titles involved in that story, but personally, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Why the fuck not? Richie said, during the TNA Jeff Jarrett Dark Side of the Ring episodes, my wife and I kept regurgitating the Bruce Pritchard Jerry Jarrett bit about his famous chicken salad. What was that? What is the bit again? I think I remember, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Please let me know, Richie, what you're referring to. Because was it something they talked about in the episode, or was it just that Bruce Pritchard, I think it's a meme or something. I think I know what you're talking about, but I just don't remember. Eric said, Dom of the Bank, please, do you feel like Liv's husband, fiance, being MAGA could be why they aren't being shown tougher lately? No, I don't think, I don't even think that's her fiance. I think Liv just got a ring. I don't think that's her being engaged to that guy. As far as I'm aware, I think they're just boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't think they're engaged or married or whatever. And no, I don't think Liv's boyfriend has anything to do with her push or why she's not being shown as being tougher lately. I mean, Liv's still the fucking women's world champion, so I really think that has no bearing on her push whatsoever. What grade do I give Jeff Jarrett's contributions backstage behind the scenes? Interesting question. I mean, it depends on what we're talking about. I mean, at his height in TNA, he was definitely more of a hindrance than a help. I mean, he put that fucking belt on himself, or at least allowed it to happen many times over in the mid-2000s, stalling a lot of pushes. Not so much in the 2010s, but definitely in the 2000s, when TNA first started. Now, Jarrett deserves a lot of credit, though. Without TNA, I mean, he gave a lot of jobs to a lot of people. He created the true alternative to WWE, there for a little bit anyway. So, I mean, Jarrett, his contributions cannot be understated or overstated, whatever the expression is. I think he does deserve credit for that. But as far as you said behind the scenes. he does deserve, like, what grade? I don't know what grade I would give it. I would probably just give it a C or a B, B minus. I mean, he created TNA. Beyond that, I don't really know what people would, credit Jeff Jarrett with as far as behind the scenes influence. I mean, again, he kind of hurt the TNA product there for a long time in the 2000s. Behind the scenes in WWE, he had no influence. Behind the scenes in WCW, he had no influence. In AEW, it seems like he likes helping out the younger guys, but who doesn't? So I'd probably go C or B minus at max. Because creating the competition is a pretty big feather in his cap as far as being the founder of TNA many years ago. Was I surprised Solo stayed face? I am surprised he did not actually join the Bloodline, yes. That actually genuinely did surprise me, and I'm happy about that. That would have been stupid to put him in the back in the Bloodline and ruin any babyface momentum he has right now. Eric said, Solo needs a world title. He can win the world title from Roman. No, Solo, I like Solo a lot. I think he's great as a babyface. Solo does not need to be a heel, or does not need to be, not a heel, but also does not need to be the world champion. There's a lot of other people that should and could be world champion over Solo. Solo can be a white-hot babyface. He does not need to be the fucking world champion. So no, he should not dethrone Roman. LA Knight should take the title from Roman. Jacob Fatu should take the title from Roman. Solo does not need and should not take the title from Roman. Nathaniel said, I saw Oak Street yesterday. Have you? We are actually seeing it today. $5 Tuesday, baby. We're seeing the end of Oak Street today. Alexis and I are dinosaur movie connoisseurs. I don't know what word you would use. Aficionados. So we're looking forward to the movie. She's been excited about it for a while. We are seeing it later. Nathaniel said, how did you feel about Lyra losing yesterday? I was surprised. Yeah, not happy. I said that earlier, but I was not happy. I think that's a step backward for her push. Fernando said, do you believe the report that WWE is heavily thinking of pushing Austin Theory over Braun Breaker if he continues to complain about creative? I have not. Has Braun Breaker complained about creative? I mean, you might be mixing it up with Dom. One, I have not seen that report. I don't know where you got that from. Two, no, I don't think long-term they will not push Theory over Breaker. I know Theory is being pushed over Breaker right now. Breaker has a match at Saturday night's main event. Austin Theory does not. He might. Maybe he will having a match. Austin Theory is also from Atlanta. Kind of forgot about the connection there with Theory and Breaker both being from Atlanta. But Breaker has a match at Sunday night's main event with Obafemi. Theory will not be on that show most likely. Unless he's like helping out fucking Breaker or some shit. Anyway, no. I think they will push Theory over Breaker. In the meantime, long-term Breaker will always be the bigger star, no matter how he's being booked, how badly he's being booked currently. Nathaniel asked, did I want Ray to win the IC title from Gable yesterday? No, I did not, but I thought it was a great match. I don't think Ray needs to hold gold again in the rest of his career. He's held every championship practically. He hasn't been a world champion in 15 years, but I don't think he needs to fucking win a world title again. He's been tag team champion. He's been IC champion, United States champion. He should not have beaten Gable for the belt. Gable just won the belt a couple of weeks ago. Gable should not have lost. That was a great win for Gable and a really good match in general. Nathaniel said he's getting a rated R Superstar spinner belt soon. That's cool. Does WWE still sell those? I mean, on WWE Shop? Because the Edge hasn't worked there in years. So I'm just kind of curious if they still sell that on the actual website, if you're getting that from somewhere else. Fernando said, I don't give a rat's ass who Liv is dating. You don't judge someone because of who they're dating. I mean, I can kind of see the connection, but I don't really give a shit. I mean, I don't even know who she's... I mean, I know the name of the guy, but I mean, does it speak... Does it say something about Liv regarding who she's dating? Yes. Do I overly care about that sort of thing? Genuinely, I do not. If Liv was problematic and saying a lot of problematic shit publicly and shit came out about her, then I would be like, all right, let's not focus on her as much. But there has been no indication that's the case. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Herrick said, I still need to know who gave Groka a license. I mean, he's a baby. Is he a baby, though? He's only 50. He's like 50-something years old. I mean, technically, he looks like a baby, but he's like 50-something years old at this point. Nathaniel said, would you like to see Tom Holland Spider-Man appear in the X-Men movie? Not really. I mean, I know you're probably saying that because of the connection with him and, let's just say it, the Jean Grey connection. I mean, people probably know that by this point, that she's in Brand New Day. No, I think that first X-Men movie, quite honestly, the first movie post-Secret Wars should be all about establishing the new era of Marvel. I don't really think you need to have crossovers in that movie. It should be all about the X-Men. It does not need to be a fucking, X-Men plus Spider-Man. Like, I don't really think that's necessary. Maybe they can mention him, but it's also not a Sony movie. And they don't have Tom Holland appear in the Marvel movies unless it's an Avengers movie. So no, I don't think he will be in that movie. I don't think he needs to anyway. Fernando said, I also saw Ice Cream Man by Eli Roth. It's fire. Is it actually? I heard it was fucking garbage. I might just see it or watch it at some point just to make fun of it. But no, I have not heard good things about that movie. Eric asks, thoughts on Indy being cast as Rogue, you mean, for X-Men? I think it's cool. I think that might be a better role for her, honestly, than Mystique. Obviously, she's an established actor. She's done other stuff. Like, I don't think she was in Supergirl, but she was in, like, not Smallville. I don't know. She was in some CW show years ago. Nothing that I've seen. She obviously had a breakout role in Obsession, and all of a sudden she's in a fucking X-Men movie. That's pretty cool. The jury is still out. I'm not going to sit here and say she'll kill it. Like, that was one movie and one role. I don't know. But the key also is they need younger faces for the X-Men. She is still a newer actor. It's not like they're giving it to an established actor. Most of the people in the X-Men movie, I honestly don't really know. They need to build around younger people for the X-Men. They can't all just be 30, 40-year-olds if they want to have them in the Xavier School of whatever. I don't know how old the original actors were in the 2000s movie. I mean, I can't imagine I can't imagine Hugh Jackman was 25 when he filmed that movie. But, she's got the youth down. We know she's a good actor from Obsession. I think it's worth giving her a chance. I think she needs an accent, though. I think that's the big thing that people have been saying. Hopefully she can do it well. But, I think it's cool. I don't think Rogue was in... Was Rogue in any of the other X-Men movies? She was, right? Rogue is the one with, like, the silver... Okay, I'm thinking of Jubilee. Jubilee was not. Maybe in a small role... Rogue was in, Rogue was in the original X-Men movies. Jubilee is who I'm thinking of. She was never a main character in any of the X-Men movies, to my knowledge. Nathaniel's excited for Doomsday, as am I. Would I ever attend a D23? Yeah, I would love to. That's actually something I would love to do at some point, or go to San Diego Comic-Con, but it's harder to go to because it's on the West Coast. Like, I've been to New York Comic-Con a fuck ton at this point. A lot of the Comic-Cons here on the East Coast. Never a D23. Would love to go one of these years, though. Fernando said, Doomsday's making $3.5 million. I think it already made $3.5 million based on previews alone, or like pre-sale tickets. I think you mean $3.5 billion. Richie said, is there any chance that this Avery Styles situation could be some big work? AJ said the whole never say never thing in terms of retirement, and would love to leave the door open in terms of, or to wrestle with his son. I don't think so. It would be one pretty elaborate fucking work if it was. It also made his son look like an idiot if it was some sort of a work. Also, AJ just retired like 6 months ago. Could it turn into a work? Yes. I think it started as a real situation. He only retired like at the beginning of the year. I don't think AJ's looking to come back into the ring anytime soon. Would he come out of retirement to wrestle with his son? Absolutely. They might wait until he gets to WWE. That might not be for another few years, I would imagine. It should not be until another few years at the earliest. To sign him to WWE anytime soon would just be pure fucking nepotism. I think he will wrestle with his son eventually. He'll probably do a Shawn Michaels, where he'll only come out of retirement for a tag match with his son. Fernando said women have made some allegations against Produce and JCW. I don't know what Produce Wrestling is, and I don't know what the allegations are outside of the Drake stuff, so I don't know what you're referring to. I had fun at the Seahawks game on Saturday, Nathaniel said. Oh, I'm glad. Did they win is the question. Eric said, do you think Marty Scurll will ever come back? Honestly, at this point, I don't. I mean, it's been so long. The guy was such a great talent. I was a big fan of his work. I've met him a few times. He was a good guy. And the few times I had met him, I'm not saying that's a reason to bring him back. I'm just saying I was a big fan of his work. And then the allegations came out. He kind of made himself look bad. He made Ring of Honor look bad because he was the fucking booker for them at the time. Made all of the Elite look bad because they were kind of friends with him, and Adam Page is still friends with him. He posted a picture recently with Adam Page, and Adam Page kind of had to defend himself or explain himself with that. It's just he's still toxic, and it's been almost 6 years. That's over 6 years. That's a long time. And to still be considered toxic if he were to pop up tomorrow, I don't think he's ever coming back. At least not to a major promotion. Tessa Blanchard has gotten more work than he has. Granted, it's kind of comparing, what's one bad thing versus another. But Tessa was able to kind of redeem herself a little bit. I mean, she was back in TNA for a little bit. TNA has not touched Marty Scurll. Neither has any major promotion in the country. So, yeah, it's I think it's too late for him, unfortunately. Richie said, woof, forgot about Marty. NEW booked him like once or twice. Man ruined his own career. Not that I was super big into him, but still. I think he had a very bright future. Marty was great. I think he was a great character, too. He kind of stood out from a lot of the other people that were on the scene at the time. He was definitely going to pop up in AEW at some point. He was in NEW a few times. That's actually where I met him, I think, the second time. I met him in late 2019. No, I'm sorry. I met him in 2018. I met him in late 2019 at like a big event thing. And then he was also at Northeast Wrestling the following January. So I actually ended up meeting him like 3 times. And yeah, he was cool, but unfortunately he got himself canceled. And I think there is something to be said about people like redeeming themselves or proving they've changed. I don't know if he's really proven that he's changed. I don't really know if he's done anything to kind of make amends or to show that he's been better. I haven't seen anything. He just kind of dug his own grave with a statement he put out at the time. So not great. Not great. I think he's kind of fallen off into obscurity and to never return. Hopefully Lyra starts winning soon. I agree. Fernando said, what if Solo or Jacob is a Trojan horse inside the bloodline from The Rock? I've given up on The Rock's involvement with the bloodline. I really have. Is it impossible? No. I mean, The Rock seems to return at times where we don't expect him to, at times where he's not really needed, to be honest with you. I feel like that could be one of these situations where it's like we don't really want to see him anymore. I don't really care to see The Rock back, and then he's going to pop up anyway. I don't think Solo is a Trojan horse within the bloodline because he didn't even fucking join the bloodline last night. So it would have to be Jacob. I don't see what Jacob would have to do with The Rock, though. Also, The Rock would completely overshadow Jacob if it were to come to that, so no. And also, Jacob only joined the bloodline because he had to earlier in the year. I guess he could have done what Solo did, but he didn't, so I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this. I don't think it involves The Rock, though. Nathaniel said, or also, if they were to do Roman and Rock at WrestleMania, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with the bloodline. Like, I don't think it's going to be because Rock wants control of the bloodline. I think that would just be completely separate. They would just book the match just to book the match because they're going to be in Saudi. Nathaniel said, did I hear that Paige's segment on SmackDown was cut, so they had to post it online? Yeah, her segment, a segment with Fraxium and Ricky Saints, a segment with Miz and Cardona. Some of those might have meant to be, like, some of those might have been designed to be backstage exclusives, but they had a lot of them. So that tells you that they fucked up the timing of the 2-hour show. And absolutely not is that an answer to turn SmackDown into a 3-hour show. I saw a lot of dumb opinions this past weekend saying, well, this is why SmackDown needs to be 3 hours. Do you watch the fucking show? SmackDown is legitimately unbearable as a 3-hour show. It absolutely should not be a 3-hour show. Give me a fucking break. They could just time the shows better. That's really all it is. Fernando said, I think Chelsea cut the best promo of her career on SmackDown. Do you agree? I definitely agree. That was a great segment. She did a fantastic job. The crowd reacted accordingly. Gunther was great as an asshole. All this was excellent as usual. Yeah, she was excellent. It was a great segment. Definitely the best promo of her career, as you said. Do I think Jacob turns on Roman soon? I don't think it happens soon. Ultimately, yes. Soon, no. Eric said, rip Hayden Panettiere. Yeah, man, the whole thing was really sad. I was really sad to hear about that. She was only 36, and she was in a lot of the stuff that I'd seen. I mean, obviously she was in Remember the Titans. I kind of forgot about that, but the movie that she was in, Princess on Ice, I thought it was called Ice Princess. It was called Princess on Ice, with her and Michelle Trachtenberg, who also passed away a year or two ago. I mean, that shit was like fucking crazy. As soon as Hayden passed away, I'm like, wow, both of those girls from that movie that I kind of grew up watching when in like the mid-2000s on Disney Channel and shit, they're both gone way too soon. I know Michelle had a lot of like drug issues, I think. Hayden, I think, had OD'd or something. That was the report that came out yesterday, and she also had a lot of personal issues that I was not aware of. I don't know if it was a drug thing, but she was definitely abused at several points in her career, taken advantage of and stuff, from what I understand. The whole situation's really sad. But I remember her and the Princess on Ice movie. I know she was in Remember the Titans, the Scream movies, more so the recent ones. I didn't watch Scream 4, but I know she popped up in Scream 6, I think. I remember her on that show Heroes. I only really watched that show for her at that time. I kind of had a crush on her when I was a kid. I only watched Heroes kind of for her, and I liked the show for like the first season that I watched it for. I was in fucking, I think, middle school at the time, so I didn't really follow the show closely, but she was the main character, and that was at a really big cult following at the time. So yeah, gone way too soon. Richie said, as far as the inside joke is concerned, he said, a long-running joke on Bruce Pritchard's podcast mocking Jerry Jarrett. Pritchard mimics Jarrett, poking fun at Jarrett's philosophies and the habit of describing his specific lunch recipes. I can't say I've ever heard that, actually. I don't think I knew about that. I think I knew about the Jeff Jarrett Stone Cold inside rib about like Jeff Jarrett telling Stone Cold was pissed at his payoff for a certain match or a show or whatever, and Jeff said to him, "Oh, it's not going to get bigger by looking at it." I've heard about that before. What you're referring to, I don't think I've heard about that. That's funny. Fernando said, "Why are we giving a shit about Liv's boyfriend? Just worry about what Liv says, which is nothing for as far as we know." I agree. I don't really care myself. Nathaniel said, "Yeah, I heard about Hayden Graham. Did you like any of her movies?" I did. I mentioned that a moment ago, yeah. I had seen several of them. Let me see what else she was in. Let me look up, while we're here, Hayden Panettiere. Let's see. What was she in? Movies and shows. All right, Nashville. I had seen people bring that up. I had never heard of that before, I don't think. Heroes, I mentioned. Bring It On. Yes, she was in Bring It On. At least the second one, or one of the sequels. Maybe the original, I don't remember. I Love You, Beth Cooper. I'd heard of that. Never seen it. Scream 6 I did see. That was actually a great movie. Scream 5 I did not like. She was in Scream 4. I watched part of that. Ice Princess I remember. I talked about that earlier. Remember the Titans I mentioned. I had seen that. Malcolm in the Middle, I saw a clip of her in that earlier yesterday. I was like, oh, I didn't know she was in Malcolm in the Middle. That's interesting. Maybe I saw that and I forgot. Oh, you know what I totally forgot she was in, dude? Well, first of all, Hoodwinked 2. I don't know if she was in it Hoodwinked, but she was definitely in Hoodwinked 2, it says, which I don't think I ever saw Hoodwinked 2. I definitely saw Hoodwinked, which was a great movie. That's a fucking underrated classic. Tiger Cruise, I remember that. That was a Disney Channel original movie, I believe. Totally forgot about that. A Bug's Life. So that I forgot that she had voiced Dot for, the little girl bug. And that movie has so many like notable names in it. But yeah, I had completely forgot. That's probably my favorite movie that she's been in, to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of that movie. Bug's Life is one of my favorite movies of all time. So yeah, I was sad to hear about her passing. Eric said he saw Oak Street on Saturday, liked it, didn't love it. Interesting. I'll have my Letterboxd review up today or tomorrow after I see it later. Richie said, how about Dinosaur? Hey, I like that, Richie. I see what you did there. I like that. We are connoisseurs for dinosaurs. Dinosaur is probably the best way to put it. I like that, Richie. Very creative. Fernando said, what is it a mistake to not turn Dom babyface when the fans were heavily cheering him? In retrospect, yes, it was. I do think they should have turned him face after he won the IC title last year. I understand keeping him heel, and it did work. He ended up having a great year last year, but yeah, I probably would have turned him babyface at the time. Nathaniel found his Rated R spinner belt on eBay. Hopefully it's real and they don't get gypped. Fernando said, Mando should be brought up on charges of child endangerment. Yeah, he's been put in danger quite a bit. And, he is 50, so, he can hold his own, to be fair. Fernando says he has a low bar for horror movies. I think I do, too. I like horror movies, but I'm not, like, a horror movie, like, Die Hard, like I've seen every horror movie ever. I kind of like the bad stuff. I feel like the bad stuff is the most enjoyable. Superman Lois, surprisingly good show. Yeah, that's what Indy Navarrete was on. Or Indy Navarrete, whatever her name is. I think it's Indy Navarrete. But yeah, that was the show that she was on. I've seen clips of it. Only ever since Obsession came out, though. Yeah, Fernando said the same thing. She was in 13 Reasons Why. I don't think so. Was she? I remember watching that show, like, during COVID. Let me see. I don't think she was. Let's see. Was she in 13? I just looked at her filmography. I didn't see anything. Let's see. Filmography. On screen. Where shows, video games. Yeah, I also forgot she was in all the Kingdom Hearts games, too. That's very sad. There's a lot of Kingdom Hearts news, actually, over the weekend at D23. I never played Kingdom Hearts, but I know they're also mourning the loss right now, too. Television. Nope. She was not. She was not on 13 Reasons Why. I feel like I would remember that. She was not on that show. All right. Give me one sec to bring back up the chat here. The real question is who's the actor that's going to be taking over as Wolverine? I don't know, and I don't think they know yet. I don't think they need to know yet. I think they should hold off on that, especially while Hugh Jackman will probably be brought back again soon. I don't think they should cast Wolverine again, recast Wolverine anytime soon. Hold off on that one. They don't need a new Wolverine for the new X-Men movie for it to be successful, I think. Richie said, some of the actors from the other CW DC shows were a bit salty because Superman and Lois had some top-notch CG, whereas The Flash and Supergirl did not. Interesting. I did not know about that drama. I didn't follow any of those shows. I know some of them were bad. Some of them were good. I was never a big DC fan specifically, at least on television with the TV shows. I did catch the first episode of Lanterns the other day. I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. I saw more people. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just kind of boring a little bit, kind of dry. I am curious. I will continue watching, but I didn't like fall in love with it the same way I did Peacemaker. I enjoyed Peacemaker a lot more. Do I hope for Obsession 2? I don't. I don't really think they need to make a sequel to Obsession. Would they make it like a anthology, like a story set within the same universe, which I think is already Curry Baker's already working on? Yes, I could see that. Obsession 2, like it wouldn't feature the same characters. It would just be another One Wish Willow movie, which I just feel like would be a retread. I don't need to see that. Could they do an anthology where you call one Obsession, Possession, blah, blah, blah? Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Richie said, Rogue was played by Anna Paquin in the older X-Men films. Yeah, I was mixing her up with Jubilee. I know exactly who you're talking about. I mean, she's in like one of the first scenes of the very first movie, obviously. I totally forgot about that. Jubilee was in Apocalypse for like 3 minutes. That's also what I was thinking of. She was in Apocalypse. Wasn't she in like she was in Charles Xavier's school? She was in like she was in a scene where she like spoke up in class or something like that. Wasn't like and I only know that because I saw an Easter egg video on it, but also she was wearing like Jubilee's colors. I feel like it was an Asian girl or something. I don't know. But yeah, she was barely in the original X-Men universe. Fernando said, Rogue was in the first trilogy of X-Men movies. Yes, she was. Yeah, as I corrected myself earlier and as Richie mentioned too. And Fernando meant to say 3.5 billion. Nathaniel said, hey, Graham, let me backtrack a little bit here. Do we think Shawn Michaels is the greatest WrestleMania wrestler ever? Yeah, probably. I mean, you look at his resume of matches with the both Undertaker matches, the Ric Flair match, the Vince match is surprisingly good. The John Cena match is very good as well. The Stone Cold match is good, but it's not great. Him and Brett in the first Iron Man match, the ladder match with Scott Hall in 95. Or no, 94, sorry. They had a rematch in 95 at SummerSlam, but the original match was in 94 at WrestleMania. Him and Diesel was fine. The triple threat at WrestleMania 40 was amazing with Benoit and Triple H. The Jericho match is excellent at WrestleMania 19. 21, the match with Kurt Angle. So yeah, I would say Shawn Michaels is the best WrestleMania wrestler ever. Nathaniel said, no, my Seahawks lost last Saturday against Dallas. Oh, so they lost. But at least you had a fun time at the game, hopefully. The Bon Quivy, what's going on, brother? Always love the name. Bon Quivy is here. Do you think Oba or Braun losing the match will be damaging long-term for either? I don't. I think Oba will win. I don't really think the result of this match matters. I don't. I think Oba is ultimately winning the feud. I think to have even Braun feuding with Oba is a step up for Braun, because he was doing fuck all before that. I mean, he's one half of the tag team champions. Honestly, who gives a shit? Now, Oba losing, he'll be fine. He already lost to Brock, which was also stupid. And if he loses to Braun, it's not like he's losing to fucking Austin Theory. Oba Femi will be fine. Braun losing, I mean, it really wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. I mean, he already lost to Rollins a few months ago, twice. He lost to him twice. He lost to Punk at the beginning of the year. I mean, it wouldn't really be all that surprising for Braun Breaker to lose again. Fernando said, Tessa Blanchard has been on her best behavior. Yes, She actually has been. She was on her best behavior in TNA, but she decided to leave because she felt she was being booked more and would be paid more in CMLL. So, yeah, she left TNA, but as far as I know, she was not involved in anything negative behind the scenes for the year or so she was back in the company. I always found Marty lame. You talking about Marty Jannetty? Fernando said he did Marty Jannetty a huge favor. He's not the dumbest Marty in wrestling. Oh, Marty Scurll. Yeah, no, I always liked Marty Scurll. I was a big fan of his work. I know I'm not the only one. He was really popular at the time. I almost think The Rock is retired. Do you agree? I consider The Rock retired. I mean, I know he wrestled that tag match at Mania 40. For all intents and purposes, The Rock has been retired for a long fucking time. Jeremy said, the fact that you already have people actually keeping tabs and everything Liv or her boyfriend, whatever he likes or post on Instagram, is very weird behavior. Yeah, that will never not be weird to me. Again, if he is like saying that sort of stuff or believes that, I'm not condoning it. I just don't really think going out of your way to see what they like and post. I think it's specifically the liking. It's just fucking weird. And who they're following, just like get a life. How about Gunther versus Chelsea Green? Nathaniel, that is not happening. If Cardona did not stand a chance against Gunther, Green would probably die. Daniel Malcolm, what's going on, brother? Said, you're a member for 14 months. Always appreciate your support, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining. Great to hear from you. Jeremy said, it seems like WWE has listened to fans when it comes to Danhausen and are back to having him in small doses. Yeah, they got into a really weird phase where they were overexposing him for the last 2 months with the whole Nick stuff. And the Nick stuff was great. They were smart to capitalize on that. But then, I just think that should have ended at Saturday Night's Main Event last month. To have him at SummerSlam beating Dom, that was such a waste of fucking waste of a match slot. Honestly, that was such a waste. And the match wasn't good. And now he's not even on the show. What a waste of a win for Danhausen, because it's not even you're not going to capitalize on that and give Danhausen a title shot or something, but it also just begs the question, what was the point? But yeah, Danhausen is better in small doses. Daniel said, Hayden and Michelle both being gone is insane. Completely agree. Yeah, man, that was totally crazy. Just the fact they're both gone is wild. Nathaniel said, Hayden in Scream 4, I think she was in. Yeah, she was in Scream 4. I started Scream 4 during COVID. I just wanted the movie on in the background. I think I was playing Among Us. That tells you that this was during COVID. I was playing a game of Among Us online, and so I just put on a random horror movie because it was October. And it was so bad or so forgettable, I didn't even finish it. I have not seen Scream 2 or 3. I watched part of 4. I have seen 5, 6, and 7. 7 was not good. 5 was worse, I think. 6 I actually enjoyed, and the first one's obviously a classic. Nathaniel said, I thought Cameron Boyce's death was sad, but man, Hayden's death is just as sad. I love the movies that she was in. Yeah, Cameron Boyce was how old was he when he passed? He was a teenager. I'm not going to compare this was more sad than that one, but he was even younger. So that just completely came out of nowhere. He had a medical issue when he passed away. Fernando said, do you think Austin Theory's career is running parallel to Matt Cardona's? When he was Zack Ryder, when he was Zack Ryder, when he was over during promos with Cena and Punk, then he was just buried. Interesting comparison. No. Theory, honestly, has had more success than Zack Ryder did. I mean, Zack Ryder, his only real claim to fame in WWE was late 2011, early 2012. That's it. Theory has been more pushed than Cardona ever was. I mean, Theory is a 2-time U.S. champion. He held the belt for fucking 8 months. I mean, it was pretty bad towards the end there as far as how he was booked. But the Cardona held the belt for 3 weeks. And then Cardona did win the tag titles and the IC title in the years that followed. The IC title he held for a day. It was more of a moment than a run. And the tag titles he had a fine run with, but that was pretty short-lived too. Theory, say what you will about his career. Theory always had a higher ceiling than Matt Cardona ever did. Matt Cardona was never going to get beyond a certain level. Theory, I think, could have been a world champion. Also, Theory won Money in the Bank, something Zack Ryder also never did. So I could see the comparison there. I don't think it's a one-to-one comparison, though. Fernando said, your top 5 dinosaur movies. Interesting question. Obviously the first Jurassic Park. The thing is, I say we watch dinosaur movies, but it's really just the Jurassic Park stuff, because one of our first dates was at a Jurassic World movie, which was bad. A lot of the Jurassic World sequels were not good. The one that came out last year I did not like. The third one I enjoyed. The first Jurassic World I liked. The second Jurassic World I thought was shit. That was the one that we saw on our first date, I think. The first Jurassic Park is obviously great. I did not see Jurassic Park 2 and 3. What other dinosaur movies even really are there? I haven't seen The Good Dinosaur, the Pixar movie. We did watch that Adam Driver dinosaur movie. It was fucking awful. It was terrible. It was called like 5165 or something like that. It came out a few years ago. We saw it last year. It was so bad. So it really is just that first Jurassic Park, and that's about it. Unless there's other dinosaur movies I'm not thinking of. And I'm sure there are. Nathaniel said that Hayden was Kyrie in Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I saw that the other day. And the Kingdom Hearts fan had a great weekend. The Kingdom Hearts fans had a great weekend at D23, and then that happened, so definitely heartbreaking. Which series ended better, Stranger Things or The Boys? The Boys. I actually liked both finales. I know both were controversial and people were whining about both. I liked both. I enjoyed the Boys overall more. I'm just a bigger fan of that show, so my answer is The Boys. Nathaniel said, hey, Graham, is there going to be Kingdom Hearts, or there is going to be a Kingdom Hearts anime series and a fourth game announced at D23? Yeah, I saw that at the announcements, and people were very excited about that. I thought, was it a live-action show or an animated show for Kingdom Hearts? Probably animated, because that's what you said. Jeremy said, I would like for them to not have Wolverine at all in the MCU X-Men films. I feel he was done to death, and there was a lot of other characters that I would rather see get more focus. They will definitely do a Wolverine at some point. I know, I see what you're saying. I'm not saying it should be anytime soon. Bro, it could be fucking 15 years from now. 15, 20 years. And at that point, will people even remember a lot of the Wolverine stuff that we've gotten up to this point? Like, you're talking about how it's been done to death. You're right. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, for as great as he was done to death in a lot of movies that weren't that good. But at the same time, Wolverine is such a marketable character. They will absolutely fucking do a Wolverine at some point. I just don't think it should be imminent. What has been Roman's most shocking loss? Magic Plumeyer asked. Good question. His most shocking loss. Who has Roman lost that was shocking? Bronson Reed actually beating him last year was definitely surprising. They didn't really do much to follow up on that, but that was surprising. Not the most shocking, though. Solo pinned him in a tag team match years ago. That wasn't, like, shocking. Surprising, yeah. Shocking, I don't know about that. Cody beating him, no. Jay beating him at Money in the Bank, I think a lot of people assumed that would happen. That was his first loss in many, many years. So that was probably the most shocking of all of his losses in recent years, to be honest. He got pinned by Rollins last year at Mania. That wasn't, like, that shocking. What else? You got to go back before the heel run for any other losses that were more shocking. I mean, he lost you know what, actually? I'll give you the most shocking Roman Reigns loss. Eric fucking Rowan. Eric Rowan and Shane McMahon both pinned Roman in 2019. I don't think he got either win back. He may have eventually beat Rowan. I don't think he ever beat Shane. He did beat him in a tag team match a few months later, a following month, I think. But yeah, Shane McMahon owns a win over Roman Reigns one-on-one. A one-on-one win that Roman never got back. And Rowan as well. So probably the Rowan loss. That would have been, I think, Night of Champions or Clash of Champions 2019. Do I think Bret Hart is Shawn Michaels' greatest rival? I mean, if only for the personal animosity between the two, he probably would have to be. I mean, you could also put Taker on that list for the matches they had. Triple H, I enjoyed their feud. The Bret matches were probably better overall. Kurt Angle was a great rival for Shawn. Shawn had a lot of great rivals. Bret would probably be number one, though, if only for the real-life animosity between the two, like you said. Obsession sequel is totally happening with two different characters, the woman doing the One Wish Willow on the dude. Yeah, they're definitely making a second Obsession, whether I think it's a good idea or not. I mean, that first movie made so much fucking money. How could they not? Braun Breaker wins match 1, and Oba wins the next 2 matches. I'd be fine with that. I think Braun Breaker should win at least one match against Oba. I'm not convinced he will, but I think he should. I think that's a fine way to play it out. Eric said, had Triple H not married into the family, who do you think would have taken over the company? Shane, Steph, or a third party? Probably. Good question. I would say Shane. We've answered this question before. I would say Shane, but like they never, I don't know. Vince always never really had he never really saw Shane in that light. Like he never really let him run anything. Stephanie ran a lot more than I think Shane did. I'll say Stephanie. I feel like Stephanie probably would have taken over before Shane did, at least in the interim, before they sold the company to like TKO or whatever. Fernando said, is it already over for Joe Hendry? I mean, honestly, first of all, I got his shirt on. I still believe in Joe Hendry. Shirt courtesy of Alexis, by the way. It was a birthday gift a few months ago. Is it over for him? I mean, no. This is probably the role I kind of already saw him in. Like, he'll be a mid-carder on Raw. He's not going to get much higher on the card than he is. He's not going to be a world champion. He might win a mid-card belt. I mean, his gimmick is over enough to the point where I don't really see that changing. He's going to be like the new Elias. I think he can have more success than Elias, but he's basically just the new Elias. And that's the ceiling that I always saw for him in the main roster, which is fine. I know he had a TNA world title. He was NXT champion, but those are small ponds. On the main roster, he ain't getting that fucking high on the card. Nathaniel said, do you hope to see Danhausen in another pay-per-view match? I actually don't. He's had 2 this year, 3 if you include Saturday night's main event. That is too many. The Backlash one I was fine with. The other 2, I mean, the next one, whatever. That was fine. The SummerSlam match one was terrible, so no, I do not. Cameron had just turned 20 when he passed away. That's crazy. Yeah, that was a whole freak thing, too. Very sad. Have I seen Cameron Boyce in the Jesse series, Nathaniel asked. No, I never. That was after my time with Disney Channel. I stopped watching Disney Channel probably around the time I started watching wrestling, so probably around 2008. By 2009, I was not watching Disney anymore. I think the last show that I watched on Disney Channel, I don't know, whatever was on in like early 2008. That's So Raven ended in like late 2007. Lilo and Stitch ended in 2006. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, I think, was still going on when I was watching. It may have just ended. Hannah Montana was still on at that time for a little bit longer. Yeah, that was about it. I didn't watch the fucking dog show or any of that other shit. Zendaya was after my time. And Cameron Boyce. Fernando said, have you seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Popeye the Shiver Man? Or whatever that, I don't think it, is it called the Shiver Man? I don't know. But I have seen Blood and Honey. I saw both. We watched them as a joke because they looked so fucking bad, and they were terrible, but I have seen them both. I'm a Winnie the Pooh fan as well, so I had to see that. It was bad. The Popeye one, I saw clips of. Alexis's brother watched it one time, and I had seen clips of it when he was watching it, but that's about it. I have not seen it in full. It looked fucking awful as well. Eric said, Kyrie in Asuka's voice. Yeah, Kyrie from Kingdom Hearts, yeah, in the Asuka voice. Fernando said, did you see the comedy with Will Ferrell that had a dinosaur chasing him? No. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, I do know what you're talking about. I did see that. I watched it on TV a few times. Lost the Land of Time. What was that called? Not the land, not the fucking Land Before Time movies, which I also never really was a big fan of, to be honest. The Land of the Lost or something. I know what you're talking about. I totally forgot about that movie. There are at least 10 more Will Ferrell movies I enjoyed over that one. It wasn't awful, but I have seen it on television. It was okay. Nathaniel said, is Donald Duck and Goofy going to be in the Anime Kingdom Hearts series? I don't know. I would think, but I don't know. They are in Kingdom Hearts, the game, so they would kind of have to be. Are you watching Coyote versus Acme? I have heard it's pretty good. I have heard great reviews. I actually will go see that movie, yes. We are definitely going to go see it when it comes out. The thing is, that weekend when that movie's coming out, it's Coyote versus Acme. That movie Buddy is coming out that Alexis really wants to see. It's like a horror movie, like a Barney-type horror movie or whatever. That also comes out that weekend. And they're also re-releasing Terminator 2. Now, I've said this here on the stream before, so don't fucking kill me. But I have never seen Terminator. I've never seen any of the Terminator movies. So what I would like to do is watch Terminator 1 and then go see the second one for the first time, but see it in a theater. So I want to see, we're going to see all 3 of those movies. I just don't know how quickly we'll see all 3 of those movies, but we will see all 3 of those movies eventually. Give me back shots. Marceau was a goated fucking name. He said, was the Bloodline segment swag jiggly enough for you? It was for me. I don't know if it was for Mr. Marceau. It was swag jiggly enough for me. It was, they hit a triple double, or triple single rather, with that segment last night. I thought they had a triple single. I don't know if, what's his name? I hate him so much, I don't remember his name. Trevor. I don't know if Trevor liked it. Trevor's a piece of shit, man. Fuck Trevor. He's a fucking loser. But, you know, I would imagine Bon Quivy, who was here earlier, probably liked it. It was very swag jiggly, though. I agree with that. Give me backshots. Marceau also said, does it matter to you, at all to you, that they just seem to rehash the Sammy turn? They did rehash it. I mean, they did it on a smaller scale. We're at the point with the Bloodline where it's the same shit. It would have bothered me more, though, had Solo actually joined the Bloodline and then turned on them, because we just basically, that was basically what the Usos did. It's the same thing. So I actually think that would have been worse if they went that route. But having Solo just turn on him, I mean, Solo, they did rehash the Sammy turn, but not really. Sammy was actually in the group. Solo never actually rejoined the Bloodline. They were teasing it last night and didn't do it. So it's not the same thing. That Sammy turn was better, but it was not the same thing. The whole Bloodline thing does bother me. I mean, the whole fucking thing is a retread. And it's not that interesting, but I will give them credit where it's due. The segment was actually quite great. Fernando said, rank these Triple H rivals: Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, The Rock, and Kurt Angle. That's a good question. Richie said also later on, he said, why do you hurt me, Graham? Log off and watch Terminator. Did Arthur like it? Oh, Daniel said that. Arthur, I think, liked the segment. Trevor did not, because we fucking hate Trevor. Piece of shit. Anyway, Fernando said, but the Triple H rivals: Shawn, Foley, Rock, Kurt. I'd probably put Kurt last. Of those four Triple H rivals, I'd probably go Rock 1. I feel like those guys had great chemistry throughout 98 and then 2000. I'd probably go Rock 1. I really like the Shawn feud, but some of those Shawn matches were not great. They weren't. They were kind of boring. I liked the Shawn feud a lot. But Foley also really helped elevate Triple H. Even though their feud was brief, I might go Rock, Foley, Shawn, and then Kurt. Honestly, I could see Shawn being above Foley because their feud lasted way longer, but Foley and Triple H also had two iconic matches that really helped solidify Triple H as a main eventer. So I probably would go Rock, Foley, Shawn, and then Kurt. Nathaniel said, yeah, and I like Cameron Boyce in the Grown Ups movies. I forgot he was in those. I did watch those movies. I saw they're making a third one. That's fucking stupid. They weren't that great to begin with. I've seen both. The first one was like, okay. The second one was just garbage. But yes, I did see that they're making a third one. They're fucking running out of ideas for Adam Sandler on Netflix. They have to make a movie for him on Netflix. All right, let's just reboot Grown Ups 3. Whatever, dude. Gimme Backshot said, how different do you think the Roman turn would have been if it was in front of fans? I do think it would have been different. I do. I think it would have been harder to turn him heel in front of fans, because he was still getting cheered by a lot of women and kids and stuff before COVID hit. It wasn't like he was overwhelmingly booed. I honestly do think COVID actually really played to his strength. I still think he would have gone over as a heel regardless, but it would have played to his strengths. The COVID stuff played to his strengths because it was a lot of cinematic, just him and the Usos, no chanting, no interruptions. It actually made that early saga of the Bloodline chapter of the Bloodline saga better. It made that first chapter a lot better because there were no fans. And it really salvaged the otherwise pretty forgettable time for WWE, where a lot of people would not go back and watch a lot of the content during that time. Do I see Dom in the Bank happening? No, I don't think it should. He's a fucking loser right now. I just feel like that'd be counterproductive. Maybe next year. Rank these Punk rivals: Samoa Joe, Cena, Hardy, Jericho, Rollins. Ooh, good question. I think it's got to be Cena first. I mean, Cena and Punk was just magic. I might go Cena, Joe, Jeff and Punk had some amazing matches and moments in 2009. And that also really kind of helped solidify Punk as a great heel. I'd go Cena, Joe, Jeff, Rollins, and then Jericho. I like Jericho and Punk. Punk and Rollins just had a more intense, personal, actual feud, a lot of bad blood there. I never really felt that Punk and Jericho legitimately hated each other until years later, and they haven't worked with each other since then. I'd probably put Jericho last, but all five rivals were great. My favorite Will Ferrell movie is Elf, Nathaniel said. Mine is Step Brothers, but Elf is great too. Elf is a classic. That would also be in my top 4 favorite Elf or Will Ferrell movies. That and, I don't know what my top 4 Will Ferrell movies would be, but it would probably be Elf, maybe Anchorman, definitely Step Brothers. That's number 1. I'd have to think about the rest. Fernando said, watch T2 Judgment Day and do an out-of-theater reaction to it. Maybe I will. I would like to see it in theaters when it comes out or gets re-released next week. I hate myself for not having seen at least the first 2 movies. I don't think I'll watch the rest. I've heard the rest are kind of shitty. but I will watch the first two. We will watch the first one together, Alexis and I, pretty soon. Because she said she would watch the second one in theaters. I said, okay. She was down for it. Eric said, The Rock's movies aren't doing well, so do you see him coming back soon? I could see him coming back for Mania just because it's in Saudi. They'll throw a lot of fucking money at him. I don't know PR-wise if he would want to have his last match in Saudi, though. So I don't see him coming back soon. I mean, I know his movies aren't doing well, but he will stick to it and try to do other shit. Now he's trying out a singing career. Let that cook first. Or fucking burn, or whatever you want to call it. And then let's see if he'll come back. Have I watched the Good Burger movies? No, I have not. I remember them. I know they did a new one. I don't know how good it was, but I have seen the Good Burger. I haven't watched them, but I am aware of them. Eric said, rank these live rivals. Becky, Rhea, Io, Alexa, and the eventual Roxanne turn. Well, the eventual Roxanne turn I have to put at 5 because we don't know how good that's going to be. For live rivals, Rhea obviously is number 1. Alexa Bliss? Alexa and Liv were never rivals. So I might actually put that 5. Liv and Alexa, I don't think ever feuded. But Rhea is 1. I would go... The Becky feud was more interesting, to be honestly. I'll probably go Becky 2 and then Io 3. The Io and Liv feuds were never interesting. They did have great matches, but the feud itself was never really that interesting. Nathaniel also is asking why they're making a third fucking Grown-Ups movie. It's because they just need something for Adam Sandler to do on Netflix. That's really it. Fernando said, is Sammy getting going to eventually get infused back into the Bloodline story? I don't think so. I think the closest that we came to that was him reuniting with them for War Games 2 years ago. I think that was the extent of which he would be involved with them again. He's on SmackDown. Not that really matters, but they have people switch every fucking week. I don't think there's any real need for it. He's doing his whole conspiracy theory thing. I would stay away from the Bloodline stuff if I was Sammy. Do I see Sammy winning the championship back eventually? I actually think he should, and I think he will. I think he would win it as a baby. I'll say yes. I think Sammy will get the belt back eventually. Freak like Najit. Well, Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers, is it one of the greatest cameos? I don't think I've seen Wedding Crashers, so you actually just spoiled the movie for me. I'm just kidding. I can't answer that because I haven't seen the movie, or at least not in full. I think I've seen the beginning of it. I don't know if I've ever seen the full movie. Fernando said, my favorite Will Ferrell movie is Anchorman and Talladega Nights, 1A and 1B. I was never a big Talladega Nights fan. I've seen the movie on TV. I like it. It's good. I like what Will Ferrell was at his peak in the early 2000s. But it's not a movie I would go back and rewatch. I just don't really care about that movie. Anchorman, I do find fucking funny. I've seen the sequel and it's terrible. But, yeah, I'm not a big Talladega Nights fan. Nathaniel said, imagine if Rock wins the Rumble to face Roman, how would you feel? That would be fucking awful. I've been worried about that for the last few years, and thankfully it has not happened. I still think it could if Roman is champion. If Rock faces Roman and not Oba, that is fucking stupid. No, I have not seen Wedding Crashers, Daniel. I've seen, I think, the beginning of it. I don't think I've seen the full movie. And the only beginning of it I've seen would have been on like FX on TV, like when I was a kid. Have never seen it. Thoughts on Incredibles 3? Not necessary. I'd rather just see them do more original projects or sequels to other movies we haven't seen yet. I'm a sucker for Bug's Life. I don't think they would ever do a second Bug's Life. It's been so long. I know the first one kind of bombed. Or at least it's not really looked back on as being like with fond memories compared to the other ones at the time. But, Incredible. I loved it. The first 2 Incredible movies were great. So I do have faith that this third one could be also really, really good. I just don't think it's necessary. It's like doing a third Nemo movie or whatever. I guess they already made fucking 5 Toy Stories, so why the fuck not? But yeah, it's fine. It's fine, whatever. I mean, Zootopia 3, I get it. What was the other one? Frozen 3, I don't give a shit, but okay, I get it. Coco 2, I mean, that's one of Alexis's favorite movies of all time is Coco, so, I mean, I don't really care too much about it, so it's not really my thing. But, she's not even really looking forward to that because she also doesn't really think a sequel is necessary. They'll probably make an Inside Out 3 if I had to take a guess. It's just them making money. With the sequels, I'm not shocked. Not shocked at all. I'd rather see more movies like Hoppers, which I actually thought was really good. And that was one of my favorite movies of the year. I thought it was a really, really good movie. I thought that was great. All right, so what we'll do now is jump over to the scheduled questions. We will go back to the chat after I'm done with these scheduled questions, so keep on sending in your chats and comments and questions. We'll get back to it to close the video, to close out the video in a little bit. All right, to these scheduled questions. First from Jordan from YouTube. What are your thoughts on TNA bringing back the Lockdown pay-per-view? I think it's fine for nostalgia. I actually was never really a big fan of the Lockdown pay-per-view. I don't actually think it's a good concept to have every match inside of a fucking cage. I think it's stupid. I think it's overkill. I think it's overexposure. I don't think it's necessary. And I think that's what they're doing with this year's show. I think the Hardys and the Nemeths are inside a steel cage. Something with whatever Mustafa Ali is doing is inside of a cage. I don't know. I just know they're doing a bunch of cage matches. I think most of the matches, if not all of them, are inside of a cage. I just don't think that's necessary. I just think it's just overkill. So I forgot the last time they had done a Lockdown pay-per-view. Maybe 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. I can't say I've missed it. It's nice for nostalgia, but that's really about it. Jordan's second question. What do you remember most from the first time that you watched TNA? For me, it was when Samoa Joe kidnapped Sharmell in 2009. Being 9 years old at the time, I was so confused. That's funny. So I started watching WWE in April of 2008. I started watching TNA, which I had heard of. I had heard of Kurt Angle from reading like Wikipedia pages and reading up on wrestlers and stuff like that. I had heard of certain wrestlers in TNA, but did not watch the product until August of 2008. So a few months after I started watching WWE, I came across TNA one summer night. I was going into my 8th grade year. I was going into my 8th grade year of school, and I came across Spike TV one Thursday night, and I kind of left it out of the background, and I had the episode on. I don't remember the exact episode or the date, but I know there were two things happening. AJ Styles was fighting Kurt Angle for his gold medal, and I remember either a cage match or I think it was Beer Money versus Motor City Machine Guns, I believe. So those are the only two things I remember about TNA at that point. And then from that point, I kept watching the show. I remember Mick Foley debuting for TNA soon after. He had just left WWE, so that was a surprise to me. That was around the time I started reading dirt sheets and stuff. I remember the Main Event Mafia debuting at Bound for Glory that year. I didn't watch the pay-per-views, but I watched TNA every week because they were easily accessible on Spike TV. So at that point, I think I was watching Raw, ECW, TNA, and SmackDown. Those are the 4 shows I was watching weekly. And I would have to DVR it because it was on too late on a Thursday. I would have to go to bed. I had school the next day as a fucking middle schooler. And then I kind of fell out of it. I watched TNA through the spring of 2009. I had moved, and where I moved to did not have DVR, so I never really watched the show live. Barely followed the show. For about a year there, I kind of fell out of it for like a year and a half after like the Hogan stuff started. Then I kind of got back into it in like late 2010 when I moved again, had DVR. And the whole Immortal thing with Jeff Hardy turning heel kind of made me interested in the product again, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, the first thing I remember watching from TNA was Kurt and AJ and Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money. And those were my early favorites in the company. All of those guys, because they were infused with my early thoughts and memories of that product. Nike Fan 02 from YouTube asked, now that Zilla Fatu has debuted in WWE NXT, what do you think about bringing back Armando Estrada as his manager? No thanks. I mean, it's been fucking 20 years. I know you would be saying that because Estrada was Umaga's manager when he first debuted 20 years ago. He wasn't even his manager for that long. He was only his manager through like early 2007. I don't even know if it was a full year that they were together. So 2 reasons I don't really care to see that. 1, I have a personal beef with Estrada, actually. So when I was first starting out podcasting in like 2011, 2012, we were getting a lot of great guests on our podcast. We got Goldust. That was our biggest guest up to that point in late 2012. We had gotten a couple of people from Tough Enough. Martin Casaus, he was on Tough Enough in 2011. We got Matt Taven on the podcast in 2012 when he was in Ring of Honor, really just kind of starting out. We got a few people on our show. We almost got Superfly Snuka on our show at that point. And I reached out to Armando Estrada about being on the podcast. And I found like his Facebook or something because he didn't really have a Twitter or an email. So I found him on Facebook and sent him a message. He got back to me literally maybe fucking 4 or 5 months later. Like at that point, why even bother? He responded to me 4 or 5 months later and just said no. He said, no thanks, I have no interest. And it's like, dude, what do you, first of all, like, I thought it would be cool to reach out to him. I mean, he was turning down a smaller podcast, to be sure. But at the same time, it's like, why the fuck are you saying no? Like, you have nothing going on. You have not been relevant in years. And I saw that he got a Legends deal with WWE years ago. I don't really know why. He barely worked for WWE. He only worked there for like fucking 2 years. And he wasn't that great. So yeah, I have a personal beef with Estrada. He turned me down. I have since talked to John Cena and Roman Reigns, among other people. And I was declined by Armando Estrada for an interview way back when. So I really don't care to see him back. But even putting that aside, I don't really think he's relevant. He has not been relevant in decades. He wasn't really that relevant to begin with. And no, Zilla Fatu does not need him. When he's on the main roster, or now that he's in NXT, he doesn't need a manager. Maybe he does, but it's not fucking Armando Estrada. Emmanuel A. from YouTube, non-wrestling question. Was Captain Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies worthy of main event status? Something I always heard about Pirates of the Caribbean 4 and 5, which is On Stranger Tides and Dead Men Tell No Tales, is that they made Jack Sparrow the main protagonist, and it didn't work because he was too dumbed down and because he was better as a wild card side character. Do you think those movies suffered for letting Johnny Depp be the top face, or did he deserve the push? Jack Sparrow is the most recognizable name from those Pirates movies. He was the face of that franchise, but you're right, he wasn't like the top story protagonist guy. It was more so Will and Elizabeth in those first 3 movies. I did see 4 and 5. 4 is okay. 5 just fucking sucks. I know they're making a 6th one. I know you're asking this probably because of that. Yeah, those movies suffered from not really having a cohesive story that was interesting or a good plot. The first 3 movies all connect. They're all just kind of one seamless story, and I think those movies, to me, in my opinion, all gradually improve from one to the other. I think 2 is better than 1. I think 3 is better than 2. I think they're all honestly excellent movies. 4 and 5 just didn't have that. They didn't have Will. I think they did have Will and maybe Elizabeth in 5, but not in like a main role. I don't know. They tried to kind of go back to the well with that one, and it just wasn't good. It had also been so many years, and they were older. It was a failure of a movie to the point where they just did not make a 6th one, even though they teased something with a post-credit scene. But anyway, yeah, no, I think those movies, you're right, did suffer from putting him in the top babyface role when he was kind of better as like the 1B and not 1A. Like he was the funny guy in those movies, but he shouldn't have been the main character. And 4 and 5 suffered because of that. In addition to just having bad scripts and just not being that good. The other movies were way better. It was just better as a, trilogy, in my opinion. Emmanuel A. said, or he asked with his second question, what do you think Batista would have done at WrestleMania 22 and 25 if he was not injured? WrestleMania 22 seemed like it would have been Randy Orton versus Batista, but WrestleMania 25 is more curious. Do you think he would have been involved in the Triple H-Orton feud like he did when he returned after 25? That's a good question. I don't. I think for 25, if Batista was around, either if he did not get hurt or if he was back in time. I think Batista was cleared before Mania was the report, but they waited until the Raw after Mania to bring him back because there was no spot on Mania to bring him back for. So they waited until after Mania to bring him back. I don't think he would have been involved in Triple H and Orton. I think that would have been cool because they were all from Evolution years earlier. So to do an Evolution triple threat would have been way better than just doing Triple H and Orton again, which we had already seen ad nauseum before that. The story was great with Orton targeting the McMahons, but the actual match sucked. And the build was great, but it was all about the McMahons. They were telling that story up at through January. Orton had been feuding with the McMahons since January. So they were not going to insert Batista into that story. What I think Batista was going to do at Mania, quite honestly, I know the original rumor was Cena and Hogan. I know. But Hogan was not I don't think Hogan was actually going to happen to face Cena. I just don't think that was going to happen with all the back surgeries he had and all that other stuff. I don't even think they were ever really truly banking on Hogan. There were never any teases for Hogan Cena. I think it was supposed to be Cena Batista at WrestleMania. I think that's why Batista won at SummerSlam. I think they had Batista beat Cena at SummerSlam 08 because they were always going to run it back at WrestleMania and have Cena get his win back there and probably either beat him to win the world title or beat him to retain the world title. And I think those plans just got changed because Cena got hurt for a few months, but Batista got hurt after that, and they weren't able to run it back until 2010, and they did the exact match there and Cena beat Batista there. So, no, I think if Batista was back in time, because remember, the match at Mania was very random with Cena, Edge, and Big Show. It's an okay triple threat, but the feud kind of sucked. The match was okay. It was a total waste of Cena and even Edge to that point. But Big Show should not have been in that spot. It really should have been. They could have taken Batista out of that equation and just done Batista and Cena as an attraction match. And Edge and Big Show as a world title match would have been garbage. But, they could have shuffled some things around, done Edge and Christian, and then, still done Jeff and Matt if they wanted to do that. They absolutely could have made it work if they wanted it to. Third question from Emmanuel as well. He asked, do you think WWE could have pushed Ric Flair more in the 2000s? I learned recently that, according to Dave Meltzer, Flair's WWE retirement angle was originally pitched by was originally pitched by Stone Cold Steve Austin, who felt WWE was wasting Ric Flair and thought a storyline where Flair put his career on the line for every match until he could win one more world title, ending in a title versus career match at Mania, would do big business. I have never heard that before, that was a Stone Cold idea. I also don't think Ric Flair could have or should have won a fucking world title in his retirement match. I don't think Ric Flair needed to be in a world title match at Mania. But they did take the better storyline with Ric Flair not, if he loses, he's gone. I think that was a great storyline. I don't know how much big business that did. It was like Cena's retirement tour, but, a lot shorter. I don't know how much business that did, but it was a great way to utilize Flair on the way out. Could they have done more with Flair in the 2000s? I think so, but at the same time, though, you got to remember, Ric Flair was well over 50 in the 2000s. He was involved in a lot of big matches. He won the tag titles. He won the Intercontinental title. He was not going to win the fucking world title at 50 at that point. There were a lot better prospects to push, and they did. He never beat Triple H for a world title. He was never even really involved in the world title scene. I don't think he needed to be. He was great as a manager in Evolution. He was good as a mid-carder. He was good as a tag team guy. He was well past his prime. So, no, honestly, I think they're booking a Flair. They could have done more with him post-Evolution. But even then, it's like, how much more could you have done with him beyond what they did? He was, again, like I said, an IC champion. He was teaming with Carlito to try to get him over. 2007, they didn't really do much with him. But I don't know. How much more could you really have done with Ric Flair at that point? At Iwagu91, let me just move this down real quick so we just see the rest of the questions. All right, give me a sec here. Bam. Where did the chat go? Hold on. Bam. All right, cool. At Iwagu91, what are the odds Will Ferrell? Will Ospreay, we were talking about Will Ferrell earlier, will kick out of the One-Winged Angel in a showdown with Kenny Omega at All In. I didn't even really think about that, but I think the chances are decent, actually. I know they told the story that MJF kicked out of it. In my opinion, he really didn't. I feel like there was a big delay between Omega hitting the move and MJF kicking out to the point where, to me, it doesn't count. I think if there was any time to have anyone kick out of it, it would be Will Ospreay in England the night that they crowned Ospreay as champion. They should have had Hangman do it at Full Gear when he won the world title. They didn't, which I think was a mistake. But better late than never. Again, they're going to claim that MJF was the one who kicked out of it, whatever. I think Ospreay kicking out of it immediately, like not at 1, but like at 2, not following a slow count, I think would make more sense. And yeah, I think he should. I think that'd be the time to do it. His second question, did you know that the last male WWE World Champion who won it in his 20s was the late Bray Wyatt, who was 29 when he won it in 2017? I did know that because a lot of people have brought that up in recent months about how we've only had older world champions for the last several years. And not even like people in their 30s. We haven't even had anyone like in their 30s win the world titles in a while. Punk is over 40, as is Roman. Cody is over 40. He was under 40 when he won the WWE title from Roman, but he was, close to 40. Who else has held the belt? Cena was obviously over 40 when he held it last year. Drew, I think, is over 40 now. Who else? Rollins is over 40 now, I think. Damian Priest was, if not 40, a little right below 40. So it's got all kind of in the same age bracket. They definitely have not had anyone win it in their 20s since 2017. And before that, I don't even know what the answer would be. Cena, Orton maybe, in the 2000s. It's been a long time. We're overdue for a champion in their 20s. It should be Obafemi, realistically. Iwagu said his third question, while it obviously won't be anytime soon, do you think WWE should turn Austin Theory face to see if this could make him much more interesting? I've been saying that for years, brother. They should have tried turning him face years ago. I still think it's worth a shot. I don't think this current push that he's getting is going to last. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to last. Him with Maxine as tag team champion, that's been there, done that. I don't give a fuck about that. I think trying him out as a babyface might be where he shines. I honestly don't think Austin Theory is going to get much of a push, like a serious push, until he either leaves or gets fired and then comes back. He's young enough to where I think that he could do that and pull a Drew McIntyre. I don't think he's going to get beyond a certain level as long as he's in this company, in this role, even if they did try turning him face. I feel like there might be something where he's over for a few weeks, maybe a few months, And as they always do when they turn people face or heel, they get this big momentum out of the gate and they fail to follow up on it accordingly. WWE has been notorious for that, specifically in recent years. And I would hate to see that happen with Theory. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's worth a shot. I've been saying that for a long time. Their biggest opportunity was when he was with Grayson Waller. Waller even mentioned that in his pipe bomb promo, if you want to call it that, a few weeks ago on NXT. And, I mean, it's bad that they acknowledged it, but didn't even do it. They had their chance, and they kind of missed the boat. And honestly, if anyone's to turn face out of the division now, it should be Braun Breaker, because he has a way higher ceiling than fucking Austin Theory does at this point. And last question from @Pluggo_, a good man Pluggo. He said, how is your Braun Breaker impression? Is it on the level of Obafemi's? It is not. I could not do it. The whole Paul thing or whatever Obafemi did last night, it was pretty fucking funny. That was a great impression of Braun from Oba. That's Oba's real voice, too. Like, the accent, obviously, as a lot of people know, that is not his real accent. That is not his real voice. I mean, it's his voice. It's just not how he talks. He obviously exaggerated his American accent last night, his actual American accent. But that is how he actually talks. You just wouldn't know it based on how he speaks in promos and whatnot. And I actually think the accent's pretty badass. The Nigerian accent, not the American accent, that is. It actually makes him sound pretty badass. So he's pulling a Kofi Kingston, but I think it works. Honestly, I think it works. And it's not like, I mean, Kofi's accent wasn't real, but he actually is. He wasn't from Jamaica, right? I mean, he was from West Ghana, West Africa. I think Oba is actually Nigerian. That's the difference. Oba is Nigerian. He just doesn't have an accent. Kofi never had an accent, but he also wasn't from Jamaica. So that's the biggest difference. But yeah, Obafemi's accent, his impression of Braun Breaker was pretty spot on, if I had to say so myself. Last couple of things here. We'll close this out with the remaining comments. Fernando said, rank these Adam Sandler movies. Excuse me. Rank these Adam Sandler movies. Wedding Crashers, Happy Gilmore, and Waterboy. I'd have to put Wedding Crashers at 3 because our Wedding Singer. I haven't seen that one either. I haven't seen Wedding Singer or Wedding Crashers. So I'd put that at 3. I would put Happy Gilmore at 1. Amazing movie. And Waterboy at 2. Waterboy is also very good. It's not one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies, but it is still pretty funny. I've seen it quite a bit on TV. Nathaniel said, which shows and movies sequels do you not want to happen? Well, Frozen is one of them. Coco, I'm not sure is necessary. Incredibles 3. I mean, all the ones I already mentioned. Obsession 2, I don't think is necessary. There's a lot of sequels I don't really think need to happen. Emmanuel, what's going on, brother? He said, hello. He also said, Armando Alejandro Estrada, just work and heal, brother. Seriously. What an asshole. He also said, I remember hearing that after Pirates 1, every filmmaker just gave Johnny Depp more creative control with his characters. That makes sense. I can see it because he was great in that first Pirates movie. He was a fucking genius as Jack Sparrow, one of the best castings of all time. So I could totally understand that. Fernando said, what are your thoughts on Jeannie Buss trying to cancel the sale of the Lakers? Save that question for Thursday. Maybe Grant Matthews will have more thoughts on that than I do. RJ definitely will. I have not heard that at all. My extent of the Lakers, my knowledge of the Lakers is the Winning Time show, which was great. And I think Jeannie Buss is also the owner of that Women of Wrestling League. Doesn't she run that promotion? The WOW Women of Wrestling or whatever. Emmanuel said they had Flair challenge Edge for the WWE title in a TLC match at the start of 2006. I remember that. And he also said, and then the Extreme Rules ECW title match with Big Show in the summer. That I kind of remember. The Edge one I remember because I remember like reading about it or not seeing it at the time, but watching it after the fact. He never won, though. He was never a consistent challenger for the world title. He had 2 world title opportunities in 2006, but I think that was it. I don't know if he challenged for a world title after that, or even before that, when he came back in 2002. Fernando said, rank these rock rivals, Stone Cold, Triple H, Mick Foley, and Cena. Good question. Rock rivals, but Stone Cold is 1, obviously. Stone Cold 1. Honestly, probably in the order that you gave it. Stone Cold, Triple H, Foley, and then Cena. Triple H and Rock were great for each other. Rock and Foley was also fantastic. So I could see Triple H and Foley being switched, but I would go Triple H 2, Foley 3, and Cena 4. Eric said, okay, so rank these Liv rivals. Sonya, Steph, Io, Becky, and Rhea. I mean, again, did Liv even feud with Sonya to fucking Deville? I mean, now you're just kind of pulling names out of your ass. Steph? Who? Stephanie Vaquer? Io, Becky, Rhea. Okay, so Sonya would be last. Rhea would be 1. Becky 2. Steph 3. I mean, Io and Liv have had more matches. I guess Steph would be 4. The Liv Stephanie feud going into Mania was really good. The match was disappointing, but it was only like 7 minutes. So I think it's still soon to say for Steph. I'd go Rhea, Becky, Io, Steph, and then Sonya. So basically the order that you gave, but opposite. Nathaniel said, yeah, I don't see Austin Theory winning WWE World title as a babyface. Do you? I don't. Not at this stage, anyway. No, not as long as he's employed at this company until he leaves. And even then, I'm not convinced it would happen. Nathaniel saying, I feel like the time to do that would have been years ago. I feel like we're past that point. I feel like he's going to be overshadowed by Oba and Breaker and Trick and other people at this point. Nathaniel said, do you think Paige versus Nikki will be at Sunday night's main event? I'll say no. I could see it maybe. I'll say no. I feel like they already had the Bellas at Saturday night's main event and then SummerSlam. I feel like they'll leave them off that show. Emmanuel said, I remember in Foley's Hardcore Diaries book, he said he was disappointed in his 06 run and that the Flair feud didn't make any lasting impact as Rick went on to feud with the Spirit Squad. Yeah, Foley and Flair had a lot of back and forth in 06. I know we've talked about that before, but I mean, that is true. Foley's not really that wrong. Because Foley kind of put over Flair big time, and then he went on to feud to the fucking Spirit Squad. What a waste. Nathaniel said, do I think Vanilla Fatu, you mean Zilla Fatu, will be a great babyface on the main roster? It's way too soon to say, but I think the potential is there. Do I remember Paul and Katie Burchill? Yes, I do. They were on the show when I started watching in 08. I actually was a fan of their act. I know Emmanuel would probably tell you too. And this has been confirmed, Vince wanted to do an incest storyline with the two of them. Thankfully, they did not do that. They also went PG around that time, so they never went in that direction. But that was the idea between having them on the show as brother and sister. I liked them. I liked them as an act. WWE never really did much with them, but I did like Paul and Katie Lee Burchill. Better as the serious heels than as the fucking dumb pirate shit. Speaking of pirates. Nathaniel said, well, I didn't think Ric Flair needed to beat Edge for the world title. I don't think so either, Nathaniel. And Eric's last 2 comments here. When you were you watching Late Days WCW with Rick's son? I forgot his name, Crowbar and Daphne. You talking about David Flair? No, I wasn't. I mean, no, I was born in 95. I was not watching WCW at that point. I know what you're talking about because they talked about that in the Daphne Dark Side of the Ring. But that's my only real knowledge of it. And then Eric said, Liv and Sonya feuded right after Liv dropped the belt back to Ronda in 2022. I vaguely remember that. I know they had like a no DQ match. It was like a month-long feud. They barely feuded. I don't think that's a good example. No one would tell you that they remember that feud. I know that was back when Liv was going crazy or whatever, but it was very forgettable, and Liv hardly benefited from that. And Sonya did not either. So that's it, guys. We're going to wrap it up there for episode 664 today for hashtag AskGSM. Nathaniel said, do I think Roman is a heel? He certainly acted one last night, so I know the answer goes back and forth, but the answer is yes. Roman is a heel that masquerades as a babyface. He was definitely a fucking heel last night. So we will wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for another great episode. I want to shout out the channel members, Alexis, Miss Mod Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, Bill Meister and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. As I mentioned at the start of the video, guys, you can check out my the video of my Miz interview from SummerSlam weekend, a near 10-minute long interview. The video version is up now on the channel for channel members first, early and ad-free, went up a few days ago. So consider becoming a channel member, more videos like that on the way. It will become public for everyone else, probably tomorrow or Thursday, but if you want to get it early, become a channel member, support the channel that way. If you want to send in a question to this show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not in the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, include your question in the comment section on this very video after it's done processing, and I'll include your question in next week's edition. So speaking of next week, we should be live normal time next Tuesday for episode 665. We'll be live again before then, though, for WrestleRant Radio, as we typically are, on Thursday, unless I'm sick, which I was a few weeks ago, but that shouldn't be an issue. I feel a lot better now. With Mr. Marceau on Thursday, talking all the latest in the world of wrestling, including a Raw review and whatever else has popped up between now and then. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And I think that's about it. Check out last week's hashtag episode as well with Alexis. That was a lot of fun. Longer than this one, but that was a jam-packed episode. I know that one did well, so go back and check that one out. So until next time, guys, be sure to like this video. Thank you again to everyone that joined us here today in the comments, sent in questions, chatted at any point here today during the 2 hours that we were live for. And be sure to drop a comment after it's done being live, share the video, subscribe, turn on notifications for every time we're live and every time we upload new content, including my latest Dark Side of the Ring reviews, my Natty book review up soon, and other interviews, including the Miz interview dropping either tomorrow or on Thursday for everyone that is not a channel member who has already gotten it. Emmanuel said, take care, GSM, going back to university next week. Awesome. Congrats, Emmanuel. Good luck with that. I know it's back to school season for a lot of people, so good luck with that, my man. Hope it goes well for you. And Richie said, hey, you said 24 hours. I did not. I said we might go 24 hours at some point. Today is not that day. Someday, perhaps. But today is not someday. Today is today, and today is not that day. But thank you, Richie, as always. Great to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us, as always, and for the great comments, questions, conversation. You guys are awesome. Be sure to like the video on the way out if you haven't already, guys. And until next time, have an awesome one. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.